Welcome to Take a Timeout with Dustin Sullivan, a production of the Can Do Group. Can Do Group is a 501c3 nonprofit provider of services for adults with developmental disabilities and is pleased to bring you this podcast. Today, Dustin's guest is Will O'Leary. Will joined the BGSU Athletics Department in July of 2022 as the Assistant Athletics Director for Ticket Sales and Annual Giving. He comes to Bowling Green after similar work experience at Mercyhurst and Merrimack Colleges. Welcome to Dustin's podcast.
Thank you.
Are you ready, Dustin?
Yeah. What was it like growing up in Massachusetts?
It was awesome. I grew up in Massachusetts, lived there for about 28 years. Very similar to Ohio between the cold and snow or lack thereof. I loved Massachusetts and I still love it. My mom's still back home. I try and go visit her at least once a year, just depending on my schedule and her schedule and such. I'm a huge Boston sports fan, New England Patriots, Boston Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, Revolution, and obviously the Patriots with all the championships. It was really cool to see. It was very unique living back there. I was able to meet a lot of different people, like very good friends of mine that I'm still close with, a lot of unique people that work in the industry. And the one thing I do not miss is the traffic. Traffic is very unbearable, especially when you're driving into Boston on rush hour traffic. I would not recommend it. But growing up in Massachusetts, I loved it. It was a very good learning experience for me, and was a nice shift to transition to the Midwest in 2019. So it was a different transition, but I liked it a lot.
Patriots are good. I was a big Steelers fan. They always beat us.
Oh, yeah. I like Pittsburgh though. I like Pittsburgh. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger. I liked watching him play. Watching him growing up, watching him play. I loved it.
And that's our call for fame, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Findlay, Ohio, where Can Do is
Yeah.
from.
That's right.
That's where Ben Roethlisberger is from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know he played at Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, but Findlay High School.
That's right. A former colleague of mine used to play high school football with Ben. And so that was his claim to fame. When he told me that, I'm like, that's awesome. Like I love stories like that. Like you just never know. Like especially in a small like a small good community like a Bowling Green or a Findlay and such. Yeah.
Massachusetts is a beautiful place. They got Martha's Vineyard.
Yes, Martha's Vineyard's definitely a unique spot. To get from the main island to get to Martha's Vineyard, you have to take a ferry. Have you ever been there?
Never been to Massachusetts.
Okay. All right. If you get a chance, I'd highly recommend the Vineyard. It's a good area to kind of explore.
Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket?
I would recommend the Vineyard. There's a lot more unique shops, restaurants. I know we were talking before we got on. You like restaurants? There's a lot of good restaurants down in the Vineyard. It's a shorter ferry too, versus Nantucket. I think it's like 3 hours versus an hour.
How far is the drive is it from here?
Oh, from here? Oh, from here to Massachusetts, you're talking maybe 13, 14 hours.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Pennsylvania's a long state.
It is.
People forget about
and
that.
I've made that drive from back in 2012. A good friend of mine is a Detroit Lions fan, so we drove from Massachusetts to Detroit for a Lions game. Just a game. So we actually made a trip out of it. We cut through upstate New York. So that's where his dad lived at the time. And then we drove to Canada. So in Canada, we went to Toronto. We've never been to Toronto. It was also during the NHL.
Circled all the way around.
Correct. And we also wanted to see the NHL Hockey Hall of Fame. And that was at the time when the NHL, they had their lockout. So we didn't see any games. But we made it a trip. We drove the next day on Sunday morning to Detroit, caught the game. I think I'll have to show. I think I have a photo of the seats. Awesome. It was awesome, and Ford Field's fantastic. And then after that, we drove through the night back to Massachusetts. We cut through Canada. I had a class that following morning, and sure enough, I made that 9 a.m. class after a 14-hour drive. I would not recommend driving. I would, if you can get around, I would avoid that.
Did you play any sports in high school?
Growing up, I played hockey. That was the only sport I played. I mean, I did youth baseball. Could not hit a baseball for the life of me. I grew up and played defense. High school, I did not play for my high school team. Our team was really good every year. They were always competing for the state championship. I wanted to, after you didn't make it your first year, I didn't want to be discouraged for not trying out the second year, the third year, and the fourth year, because I'm always of the mindset you don't know until you try. And I've taken that mindset with me up until now, and I'll take that for the rest of my life.
Hockey's awesome.
It is.
You get to fight.
You at the high school level, maybe not, but
College level.
College, sometimes.
Pros.
Yes, pros. It's all. I mean, they've gone away from it in the NHL.
Probably a good thing.
It is. I mean, I think the NHL playoffs has been more fights and more questionable hits, especially in the Florida-Toronto series. That's a bloodbath right now, and it's great for hockey. And I mean, the players love it. It's great to grow the game and such. And the tournament that they had, the Four Nations tournament. I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch that?
I'm not really a big hockey guy.
Oh, I mean, you're missing out. The Four Nations tournament. It was over. It was in February.
Oh,
so
I did watch that.
Yeah, that was some of the best hockey that I think we've seen in recent memory.
And you lucked out because BGSU has got a pretty good hockey team.
Yeah, our hockey team here. The program's historic. We have a couple of alums that work in the NHL right now on the front office level. We actually have going into this upcoming year, have the #1 recruiting class in the country.
Awesome.
It's going to be a really good year for the program, and I think when you look at like what happened with Western Michigan, same school as us. They're a MAC school. They have Division I hockey. They may not have the resources like a Boston University has or Michigan has from a facility standpoint and financial standpoint, but they won the national championship. They can do it, why can't we? Our team should be good next year. We took a big step this year we have a new coach. Last year was his first year. It's Bowling Green alum, played hockey here, coached here, then went to the major juniors up in Canada, and now he's back here, and he's done a really good job here.
A lot of new going on around.
There's a lot of new.
Do you guys play Ohio State hockey?
We do. So every year we always play Ohio State.
They're pretty good.
They are. And we actually when we hosted the NCAA regional here, we hosted at Toledo where the Walleye play. So we were the host school. So Ohio State came. So it was Ohio State, Boston University, Cornell, and Michigan State. So it was actually really cool to kind of see like all those different teams, especially two regional teams that drew well. But we do play Ohio State every year. We do like a home and home. So like we play a game there, then we play a game here. We usually do that at some point during the year. It's sometimes at the beginning of the year or in the middle of the season before conference play starts.
Buckeyes won a championship not long
ago. For football, yes. Hockey, they still haven't won a championship yet.
The women.
Yes, the women. Yes, their women's hockey program's really good. Their women's program's one of the best I've seen.
Yeah. What made you guys choose? What made you choose Dean College?
Going back a little
we are going way back. So Dean College is in the same hometown that I grew up in, Franklin, Massachusetts, and it was a 5-minute drive. When I started the college process, I wasn't really sure if college was a right thing for me. Like high school, I was just getting by. I was going through some life stuff with my parents' divorce, mom being diagnosed with cancer, and dealing with that at a young age. But she wanted me to keep plugging away in school. I only applied to 3 colleges. Dean was one of them, Johnson and Wales University in Rhode Island, and then Bridgewater State College in Massachusetts. Visited all 3 schools. I was really impressed with Johnson and Wales. For me, Dean, it was a more intimate choice, not really because it was in my same hometown, but I had a learning disability in high school, and Dean had resources for me to kind of like excel and not be held back. Their arch learning program was really good for me to get involved in, and I had a one-on-one tutor that I met with once a week, twice a week, however long I needed, and it was home. Like they provided me opportunities, like internship opportunities. Like I did 6 internships when I was at Dean, 3 of which were with the craft sport group, which is how I got into this level of the industry, or this crazy sports industry. And like they've grown a lot. It was a lot smaller back then, but they've had more students coming every year. And it was like my mom told me too. There was also like Dean also does a really good job offering scholarships to all their students, and she told me if you say no to this scholarship, we will have an issue. And I'm not going to say what exactly she said, but she really wanted me to go there, and it was home. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can go home on the weekends, even though I stayed at Dean, but obviously doing laundry at home is a lot better than doing it in a shared living space.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What is a business administration degree?
That's a very good question. It's basically a degree if you want to work in business. And like, I feel like for when I got my business administration degree for a bachelor's, it tied into what I wanted to do. So a lot of schools like Dean, Bowling Green State University, any school, they offer like different classes. So if you want to do marketing, they have like a marketing track. If you want to do sales, they have a sales track. Finance, they have a finance track. When I was in college, I kind of dabbled in all those different tracks because I didn't have like a specific degree to go towards. Like if you wanted to be in marketing, you still have to take all sorts of classes,
Yeah.
which I like. So that way you kind of get your you kind of expose yourself to different areas. So that way, like if you broaden your horizons, and that way it makes you more marketable in the industry and kind of like just expands your knowledge base. And I think schools that offer that, I think that it's very unique. I mean, even here at Bowling Green State University, like their sport management program, like it's grown, and it's like one of the top in the industry, like top in the country rather. And I think what I got from my degree back in, oh God, now we're going way back. I've been able to apply like my knowledge from then to today and kind of just expand on that.
That's sweet.
So sports management here is kind of like a business degree.
Yes.
Geared towards sport.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so kind of.
yeah, it is, and
business.
like the sport management degree has really grown over the last decade, especially after COVID. I think COVID, we had to change our mindset and how to get fans back to games. For example, like attendance is just up across the industry, whether you're looking at the collegiate level, minor league level, professional level, and even like just going back to the sport management degree, there's so many different tracks. Like if you wanted to do sales, marketing, broadcasting, social media, like any sort of track that you want to do, a lot of schools are expanding that track at the sport management level. And what you're finding, especially here at Bowling Green, for example, they require all their students to do an internship, or actually more than one internship, because that you add that to your resume, and that's only going to give you more of an opportunity to get your first full-time job and break into the industry.
That's
And
great.
yeah, and one of the unique things I like about Bowling Green, they require their students to do a capstone. Like in sport management, they require them to do a capstone internship. So we have a lot of our students, we have about 5 to 7 Bowling Green interns a semester, and they're strictly doing sales or anything that we ask them to do, and they're willing to learn. And it helps us from an operational standpoint, but also gives our students the opportunity to learn what it takes to work in the industry. So then when they work for us, they can go work at other universities or other teams to do their capstones, so that way they're prepared and they have that knowledge base to take it to the next level.
Sweet.
It's very unique, and I think what I've seen Bowling Green do and the students that they churn out, it's like a factory. Like you're just churning out students for this industry.
It's a great university.
It is. It's growing. It's certainly growing.
After Dean College, you ended up at Merrimack College, north of Boston. Which came first? Classes for earning a master's degree, or the job as director of ticketing and fan experiences?
That's a good question. So Merrimack was an unexpected stop for me. After I graduated from Dean, I was at a standstill trying to get in the industry. So I worked at Foxwoods Casino. It's a casino in Connecticut.
Sweet.
I did not even work at the casino. Like I did, I was a vendor. I worked for a company based out of Texas called Ice Rink Events, and we were hired to have an outdoor ice rink year round, or for the winter in Connecticut. So I lived at the casino for 3 or 4 months in a hotel, had everything paid for, so that was actually really cool. I did not gamble once, and that's one thing I'm very proud of. But after that, I needed a full-time job, so I went back to the New England Revolution, did inside sales. You ever heard of Pele?
I think so.
So he's like a soccer player, one of the best soccer players in the world, probably in history. Quick story: when I worked at the Revolution, we had a international soccer game between Portugal and Mexico. I'm on the field with 30 plus kids trying to get them on the field for like the flag, like they're like bringing out the flag for both countries, and the kids are just, their eyes are just very happy. And then Pele drives up in a golf cart with Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. So everyone's just going nuts, and I'm like, oh, that's Pele. So that's something on my bucket list I did not have. So when I was going back to it, I was in inside sales for the Revolution, doing basically selling ticket packages for their MLS program, and Merrimack came up from an informational interview. So I wanted to obviously work in sports, and met a hockey coach at Merrimack at the time, who's a very good friend of mine to this very day. And he asked, have you ever thought about getting your master's? And I'm like, yeah, eventually. And he told me about Merrimack. They have a capstone opportunity or a graduate assistantship opportunity. So I was able to get my master's degree in 1 year while also working for the athletic department in ticketing. So I was like their assistant ticket manager. I had ticketing experience, but not as much as I needed to, but they were fine with that. They were able to train me. So I was able to get my master's degree in 1 year while working. And after I got my master's degree, then I became like that full-time role. It wasn't director at the time. I was like manager of ticketing and guest services or whatever it was. And then eventually the director. So to answer your question, classes first and then the director job. So it was a good transition, and that's how I got into college athletics, because that was not on my plan.
Robert Kraft owned the Revolution too, right?
Yeah, he still owns the Revolution, the New England Patriots, obviously.
Does he do Kraft macaroni and cheese or no?
No, that's completely separate. It's very common, very common. He does not own Kraft macaroni and cheese. He does own a couple other businesses, like a box building business, or I forget the name of it. But he has a lot of different business ventures, and he's a very, very unique businessman. They actually, when they built the new stadium, Gillette Stadium and Patriot Place, they were able to pay off their loan for the actual complex within 4 years.
He's a great guy.
He is a very, very, very great guy, very smart man. He definitely put the Crafts, like the New England sport franchise, especially the Patriots, on the map for years to come.
Him and Tom Brady were good buddies.
They are.
So was Belichick.
Yeah, the three of them transformed the franchise and the sport.
Hopefully Belichick does good for North Carolina.
I'm confident he will. I miss him in New England, but I'm confident he'll do well there.
Isn't it amazing your life leads one place to the next, to the next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be out in Ohio. I will be.
That's kind of a question.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll get to that.
Has a young girlfriend, I think.
He does.
You're getting off subject here. We're not talking about that.
What is it about the Merrimack job that made you continue to pursue the profession?
The Merrimack job, I liked. College athletics wasn't on my to-do list. I wanted to stay on the professional side. I think when I got more and more involved with the Merrimack job, I got to see whatever I did from a revenue generating standpoint and how that impacted the student athletes in the university.
Yeah.
And to me, that was very impactful, because I'm helping provide a great experience, not for our student athletes and having fans come to the game, but also helping the community out and getting them something to do instead of like that was one of the unique things that we wanted to do. Is in North Andover, you were competing with a lot of different events going on, a lot of different activities, especially on the youth side, because kids were always involved in youth sports, do different activities that weren't sport related. So we had to find unique ways to get them to our games. And that's something that I've brought to the table, even to this very day where I currently sit. And even like at Merrimack, I got to meet a lot of unique people, especially on the hockey side, like whether it was like scouts or players or people who I've never thought I would meet. Like there was one guy I met, he was the GM, he's still actually the GM for the Minnesota Wild at the time, and he was there scouting a player on either our team or the visiting team, and he played for the Bruins. So I went up, introduced myself, and I thought, I'm like, you know what, this is actually kind of cool. And mean, you get to meet a lot of unique people, and even for one thing at Merrimack that I liked, they're a growing school. They're still growing, and we kind of laid the foundation. Like my staff and I, and even some of my colleagues in other areas of the department, we kind of laid the foundation for I believe, laid the foundation for them to go from D2 to D1, because now they're D1 across all sports. And I mean, their men's basketball program's really taken that next step, and their hockey program had a historical run for, they made the NCAA tournament like for the first time since 2011 or 2013. And I think that from the outsider perspective, even as an alum, even though I got my master's there, but I'm still an alum, that was cool to see, especially seeing people like coaches, like the hockey coach, known him for a couple of years, and to see what he did there. It's a different coach now, but it's a different coach when I was there than before I left. They got a new coach, but I still keep in touch with him. But to kind of see what he did with what he's been doing with the hockey program from the outside is really cool to see.
Great experience.
Great experience.
Okay. On Dustin's podcast, we added these trivia and facts.
Oh God.
Sort of
God.
thing. And this is why I needed my phone.
Okay. I'm probably gonna get it wrong.
A claim to fame in Massachusetts is the first zip code. It's 01001. Do you know where that is?
I do not.
Okay. Well, I'm going to butcher this name, so you'll at least be able to help me.
Is it Worcester?
No, it's Agawam.
Agawam.
Okay.
Agawam.
I said it right. Woo!
Usually people get Worcester right. They call it like Worcester, something like that. But
we have a Worcester in Ohio.
yes,
so
yes.
Actually, we know that.
Okay. Not many people do. Not many people do. Which that's awesome that y'all know.
Agawam.
Oh, Agawam. Yep.
Agawam.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can either call it Agawam or Agawam.
Yeah.
Like it's probably split in Massachusetts.
They're like the first zip code, 01001.
I didn't know that.
Did not know that either. Learn something new every day.
Yeah. So we go on with the podcast now.
How did he end up in Mercyhurst in Erie, Pennsylvania?
So that one, my boss at the time at Merrimack, I've known for, he was my big boss at Merrimack when I was a student. And then he hired me my first full-time job, because after my old boss left, there was an opening and it was easy transition-wise. So my boss at the time, Brad Davis, he got hired to be the athletic director at Mercyhurst in fall of 2018. And we kept in touch since, and he reached out to me in the fall of 2018 because they had an opening for the assistant AD for marketing. I think that was the title. And I was at Merrimack at the point for 4.5 years, and I kind of reached, I wasn't going to take that next step there just because of timing wasn't right, and position and money or salary, or not even salary, but I think just like the financials, like I couldn't make it work. And I had that conversation with my athletic director at the time, and we had a good heart-to-heart conversation. And so I went through the interview process at Mercyhurst. It was in a different area than I've lived in Massachusetts my entire life, so it was really hard for me to make that decision, because my dad, who was alive at the time, and my mom, obviously they were split, but they still lived in the same hometown. I was going to be leaving them for the first time ever, but they both wanted me to take that opportunity because it was a new title, better pay, a new space to live. And when I went out to Erie, I was really impressed. I liked the community aspect there. The school was an up-and-coming school and it's still growing. It's a very beautiful campus as well. And it was a new position, and having worked with Brad, that was very comfortable for me to kind of
A lot of snow, though.
a lot of snow. In fact, the day I was leaving, because I flew into Buffalo, they got hit with like a lot of snow.
Yeah.
And it was I was at a point in my life, both professionally and personally, I had some stuff going on that I knew there wasn't really much in Massachusetts for me. Like I needed to take that step, and I know in the industry sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and it was something that I took a chance on, and it was great. I mean, I think my first year at Mercyhurst, I was able to do some things. I was still learning a lot, so it was fun. So first year was great. Second year was COVID, and I think
Ruined everything.
it was not fun, but we got through it, and then got to do a lot of unique things there. I wish I was able to do more there, but it was
Actually, that might lead into this question.
okay.
What were the kind of giveaways and promotions you did at the Mercyhurst varsity games?
Ooh, we did a lot. We did T-shirts for our students. We did a lot of whiteouts. We've done rally towels. I think we've done mini footballs. What else did we do? Oh, now I'm going back into my marketing wheelhouse. We did a lot of, obviously they were free giveaways for students and general fans. I think we even had some local restaurants like give out free samples. Students love free food, like especially the free pizza,
I do too.
like Donato's, Donato's Pizza. That was one of my favorite companies to work with in Erie. Christina Vogel.
Donato's is big in Columbus.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they're not around here.
Yeah.
I'm shocked they're not around
Great
here.
pizza.
And it is very great pizza. I've never had Donato's until I moved to Erie, and their pizza. It's not an endorsement, but I will say that the Donato's pizza, like the little square this little square slices, was very good.
And the cornmeal on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes,
The subs are good too.
yes.
Not an endorsement, I guess.
No, yeah, but no, we wanted to work with a company like Donato's, and they wanted to work with our students, like offer free samples and like discounts, and that was something we've never done at Mercyhurst until like Brian and I got there, and that was important for us to get the community involved. One thing that we also did too, sell beer at our games. That was one of the things that Brad, our athletic director at the time, that was one thing that he wanted to do, not so much as a giveaway per se, but selling alcohol at university games, at college games rather. That was like on the up and up, and everyone thought it was like a school thing. And depending who you talk to, like it was either local level, state level, school. But like you're seeing it, especially now, like we sell alcohol at all of our games.
It brings the fans in.
It does, and it adds a unique revenue stream.
Exactly.
And obviously, you have to drink responsibly. And right now at our games here at Bowling Green State University, and even at Mercyhurst, it was just beer and wine that we sold. Liquor, that's another avenue that is another logistical challenge to navigate. But some of the biggest giveaways that we've always done at Mercyhurst were like the T-shirts and the free food, especially for the students because they love free stuff.
I don't blame them. Did you see any increases of ticket sales after working there?
At Mercyhurst, we did hockey, men's and women's ice hockey. We did. The biggest thing that we wanted to do was focus on groups, because like group tickets, especially, no matter what level you're in, whether it's at a level like Mercyhurst or a level like Bowling Green, groups are like one of the backbones of the ticket side of things next to season tickets. We had a lot more groups come to our hockey games, especially on the men's and women's side, throughout the year. And we worked with local youth hockey organizations, local campus partners on campus to like drive revenue, especially on homecoming weekend. Like that was one of our biggest revenue generating days at Mercyhurst. And same whenever we had Ohio State hockey come to town. Like we actually had a interesting story in 2019. Because Mercyhurst always played Ohio State home and home because it's local, like it is with Bowling Green, or very bus drive, which is nice. We used to play at where the Erie Otters play for Mercyhurst.
Very cool.
Like for some games, but we wanted to bring that on campus because Mercyhurst, so they have an on-campus rink, which is very rare, and the rink's small, but like when it's packed, you can't breathe, and it kind of creates like a unique atmosphere, especially when people are on top of each other and especially when it's loud, and it's just like the players feed off of that.
It kind of reminds me of Duke's basketball court.
Yes, very, very like Duke's, and I think it's very unique. And then even like with basketball, like whenever Mercyhurst would play Gannon, that was like their rivalry. Like with Bowling Green and Toledo, it was Gannon and Mercyhurst. It's like especially for basketball and football, in all the sports, but basketball always drew well at both venues. But for Mercyhurst, like for men and women's basketball, those were always the biggest crowds of the year.
That's
and
good.
it was fantastic, and it was always great basketball too.
And again, made your job easier.
Yes, made my
When
job
those
easy.
rivalries exist.
Yes, yeah, the rivalries are that's what gets people to the games.
Yeah.
One of the things.
Can you describe the new platform for tickets?
For Mercyhurst,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
so the
You had to start something new.
yeah, we used a company called eTix. It was a program I was familiar with. We had them at Merrimack at the time. Before at Merrimack, we had to transition to a new platform for some compliance reasons. But at Mercyhurst, eTix was very nice for us to sell tickets online because we never had that, and people always want to buy tickets online. It
Did
gives
COVID motivate that? too?
so it was really interesting post-COVID because it took us a while to get our fans to come back to our games because we were still operating at some COVID restrictions for our ticketed sports. And then I left, right before everything could kind of open the floodgates. But pre-COVID with eTix, it was very nice. A lot of our fans, they still wanted to pay for walk-ups. Like they would just come to the door on a game day and pay for tickets just because that's how they were. And I think we wanted to change that process just to have them buy online in advance. So that way we capture that information for email purposes, and we just capture that information in general, which is always good to kind of build our database. And it was a platform I was familiar with, very user-friendly. It was very simple implementation, and it offered us to sell tickets via credit card, which we were just strictly cash, and we wanted to get away from that. So obviously COVID helped to go cashless. People still paying cash. I don't even have cash in my wallet. It's just my credit card and debit card.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the integrating the new platform was very, very simple.
That's great.